It's time for todaysstocks.com with host Pat Bolland.
Oded Orgil. He's the founder and president of 5X Capital Management, president of the Canada-Israel Chamber of Commerce, and chief executive officer of Ocean Falls Blockchain Corporation. He's an innovative leader in the financial services and wealth management industry who's passionate about the future of blockchain, technology, and international relations. We're here today to talk to him about Ocean Falls Blockchain. And Oded, great to see you. Tell me a little bit more about this company, because as I understand it, you're going to be listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange soon.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Pat, thank you very much for allowing me to join you today. Ocean Falls is a wonderful company that we started really formatively putting together probably back in about 2015. We formally incorporated it in 2017 and raised some capital with the purposes of going public in early 2018. Unfortunately, our timing wasn't so great in late 2017, but what we did as a team is we executed on our game plan, built the facility, purchased miners, and started and ran it through a very, very difficult time of 2 years of what they refer to as the crypto winter. And
yeah,
so,
no kidding, it was a winter. But tell me more, because it's interesting. There's so many aspects of this. Because not only did you locate in a existing facility, you became a miner and you got into blockchain, but then you're going beyond that. So let's start with the mining part first.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So we are a unique company. As I said, we identified this location, and it was actually our co-founder and our chief technology officer, Kevin Day, who's located in Vancouver. And he's a bit of a history buff. And in searching out, when he was looking around at opportunity or places in British Columbia, found this neat little location called Ocean Falls, which has a tremendous history. At one point, there were over 5,000 inhabitants in Ocean Falls. It was a thriving pulp and paper mill town. It had the first indoor swimming pool on the West Coast, a very large hotel. A couple Olympic swimmers have come out of Ocean Falls. And then unfortunately, it fell through some hard times. Kevin found this place very, very interesting. And in doing this research and learning about it, he also found out that there was Boralex was running an off-grid hydroelectric power plant. Kevin reached out to Boralex and also to me at that point said, in about 2015, we've got to start mining Bitcoin. I mean, he'd been already involved in it. And through his persistence in working with Boralex, over 2 years, convinced them that we were real, that we wanted to incorporate a company. And working with them, we negotiated a power agreement, and they were also our landlord. They've got a very large facility there. And we raised capital with some great bankers here and looked at starting this mining facility, very small, just under 1 megawatt, and got it up and running. As I said, timing wasn't great in early 2018, but we persevered. And since that time, we've been mining consistently. We've gone through, as we said, some very difficult times and now some more positive times. We've raised additional capital this past year for the purposes of expanding that location. We're now through 2 megawatts, where we've got some of our existing machines, we've got older ones, and we've added some new ones, and we're hosting. And you're probably familiar with what that is. That's other people bring their units there, and we allow them to mine Bitcoin, and we share in some of the revenue and the profits of that. So that's our location there, and we have greater plans of growing that. And that, as you alluded to, that's just part of our business plan.
Okay, but how has the community responded? Because it probably sounds like a more traditional, hydroelectric or logging community.
Again, that's a really good question. I mean, the community's been amazing. First of all, Kevin has, to a large extent, embedded himself in the community. He purchased a home up there. We commute back and forth. The community itself, though, fell in very difficult times, as I said, because pulp and paper mill, pulp is not a thriving industry. From those 5,000 inhabitants, there's now maybe 60 to 80 full-time inhabitants in Ocean Falls. And in working with them, I mean, we have tried to, bring a little more revitalization to that. There's a hope that, through our involvement initially on the mining side, but we've got some plans on some of our blockchain applications, perhaps setting up an IoT location there. So they've been very, very, very positive. Boralex has been happy. They've got a tenant I mean, they've been a great partner. We're taking power from them and working with them and the community to try to revitalize this town.
Okay, now let's get to the application side because when I looked at your business model, it seems like you've got a lot in insurance. Is that where the applications are focused?
Well, that's absolutely where the initial side of the applications are. Kevin's background, and as I said, he's our chief technology officer. He's got a history in insurance for many, many years. But insurance is one sector of our economy which is ripe for disintermediation. We all know financial services sector could be another one, healthcare. We have focused initially on the insurance side, and we believe that there's lots of opportunity where again we can find applications that will be very disruptive in the area of insurance.
Okay, so then if you're suggesting that's your first application, where do you grow from here? Do you expand the mining side or is it the application side?
Well, I think we have a bifurcated strategy, Pat. So we are going to absolutely do both. Mining is a core part of our business. It's how we started. And again, first thing, we are working with Boralex to over time increase the capacity at Ocean Falls. That facility itself over time can grow to almost 20 megawatts. It's very important to us. It's also hydroelectric power. It's renewable energy. But we've also identified a number of other locations in British Columbia and across North America that we see mining as an important part of our business and our core platform going forward. As I mentioned, insurance is the other side of it, or blockchain applications, excuse me, is the other side of it. We have an expertise on the insurance side, so we've identified that as one location, but there's lots of opportunity for many, many more that we can over time, involve ourselves in.
Okay, then there are a lot of crypto companies out there and they seem to be growing on a daily basis. Why should an investor look at Ocean Falls blockchain over any of the other ones?
Well, first of all, I don't know if we should look at anybody over anybody else. I think one thing I love about
In addition,
maybe a little. I think what's really interesting is that when we look at blockchain mining and the like, I mean, we are really at the forefront, or as I said to many people, the first inning, of where the blockchain will take us over the next couple of years. Much in the same way that even after we went through the Nasdaq bubble in the late 90s, early 2000s. There still exist many, many companies, who employ the internet and did a number of different things. I think that there's a variety of companies that have a great value proposition. Our particular value proposition is the following. As I mentioned, we are a renewable energy miner, a boutique industrial miner, where we've identified and located a number of low-cost power providers that we can scale up. And our plan is to grow to over 90 megawatts in the next 36 months. That basis, that the mining aspect will generate free cash flow, which will allow us to then invest that money in blockchain applications, initially on the insurance side, which have the unicorn status. I believe that mining is a legitimate business. It will continue to grow. We know that there are power issues that people talk about. However, I do believe over time that mining will become more of a utility. There will be the volatility will be taken out of Bitcoin and many of these cryptocurrencies to a large extent, and there will be a profit margin that miners can make. We differentiate ourselves as we are going to look to take some of that profit and we're going to invest it in these very unique blockchain applications.
okay, the flip side of the coin, of course, is risks associated to that. And are there significant risks to operations? Is it a logistical risk, or where do you see the risk profile coming down, and how are you addressing those?
Well, the risk, first of all, we are in a new industry. I mean, and the volatility is, as we know, is extreme. Whether you want to call it speculative or aggressive, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, we've tried to mitigate our risk by doing the following: is that we will have our own machines mining, and if you're aware, these machines, these units are very expensive at different times, and the depreciation on them, comes down is fairly quick. It's 2 to 3 years. So we will strategically and opportunistically purchase our own units, and again, that's a capex. But more often than we see ourselves as hosted, and that will mitigate our risk, so that there's other individuals' units are there. We can have an expertise in identifying where the power supply is, in repairing these units if necessary, and managing that aspect of it. So that's how we mitigate our risk on the mining side. On the blockchain application side, We've been incremental in growing on where we're at, using our expertise on the insurance. And we think that there's lots of other opportunities with very entrepreneurial businesses out there who have wonderful ideas and perhaps need a little bit of capital just to grow that business. And we think that we can add to that. We can help them, grow that business. I wouldn't quite call us an incubator because I think many of these businesses can generate revenue very, very quickly because there is tremendous appetite out in the business world for looking at blockchain applications that truly solve problems. And I think that's the other aspect of us. That we're looking at trying to find niches where blockchain will solve problems, not just add blockchain to the end of your name for the sake of adding blockchain.
Balancing the opportunity with the risks, you come from the wealth management side of business. Who is this best suited for?
Well, again, let's be candid. We are going to be a micro cap company. So that's very important that people look at this, as part of, again, if I'm putting on my advisor hat, as part of their portfolio, and there is a risk aspect to it. As I mentioned earlier, I think that this sector of the economy is going to continue to grow exponentially. So I think there's individuals who have a knowledge and understanding, of where Bitcoin and blockchain is going to go over the next few years. And I think it will transform how we do things, much the same way as I joke with other people that different from when we dialed up our computer 25 years ago and heard that whirring sound, we didn't know it would turn into an Uber Eats app on our phone. We don't know where blockchain is going to take us. We know it's going to disintermediate a lot of things. So going back to your question, I think that this is something that is someone who sees a company that has a true business plan, is solving problems out there. And I'm proud to say we will be one of the very few companies on the CSE when we list that is generating real cash flow. We, as of today, if we shut everything down and all our great objectives, we're profitable.
And that's the key, Oded. Great to chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oded Orgil is the Chief Executive Officer, Ocean Falls Blockchain.